All right. Hello and welcome. I hope everyone is slowly dropping in or getting into dropping in. Today I'm here with my colleague Lisa Fröhlich, and as you can already see on screen, we are presenting to you the IEDC webinar Sustainability from Standards to Action. So a training that Lisa and I were piloting actually last year and that we will offer also this year once again. And today we will tell you a little bit more about the seminar, what you can expect, the content. You will also hear, if we are getting lucky, from one of the participants of the last cohort. And if you are aware with the Zoom functionalities, you are very welcome to drop in your questions via the Q&A button that you should see in your navigation bar below. So please use this function. We have muted all participants. So also our staff, Vera, is kindly with us today and can also unmute you later on. So this is also possible, but for now, just if you have questions later on, please drop them in the Q&A box. Yeah, we are very excited to having you here. And without further ado, I think, Lisa, we can also then briefly reveal what you have on the agenda. So here with me, I just told you, is Lisa, and she is a professor in sustainable supply chains. She has also now proudly, since a couple of more months now, actually founded the Ispira think tank, and she's probably also willing to give you a little bit more of an insight on what she's doing there. I'm Marina. I'm the Coca-Cola Chair of Sustainable Development at IEDC Blade School of Management. I'm also partly doing consultancy work at the Polymundo AG in Germany. And so Lisa and I are both very passionate about education, but also about practical expertise and blending in these two perspectives. And this is where we came together to also engage in this training, because we found that in the educational sphere, we have a lot to offer that practice doesn't know, but also practice has a lot of insights that we as educators at higher education institutions don't have. And so we wanted to merge these perspectives. And I think, Lisa, how about I can throw the ball over to you, and you will tell us a little bit about what were the pain points, why we actually came to develop this program.
Yes, thank you very much, Marina. Also from my side, very warm welcome. Really great that so many are participating in this info session for our training, Sustainability from Standard to Action. So as Marina already explained, I have a full professorship in sustainable supply chains and sustainable procurement. But now I'm self-employed because what I really want to do, and I think there is the overlapping with Marina, because we really want to bridge the gap between theory and practice, because we know a lot from a theoretical and empirical point of view, but the problem is that the data is not, let's say, communicated in a way that companies really know how to do this. So that's the reason why we thought about this new idea of the training, and I will explain it to you a little bit later on. So what I'm doing at the moment is really to read a lot of books from different with different content to bring this into the sustainable transformation. And today I will also start with a completely different line of argument. So you might think maybe in the beginning, okay, what is she talking about? So what is the relation to the sustainability context? You will see it later on, because I want to refer first of all to this very fancy speech from Mr. Vance, the US Vice President. Maybe you've heard about this during the Munich Security Conference. He gave this speech on Saturday. And now Europe is once again in a state of shock. So because everybody has is a little bit threatened about how the US is now assessing Europe, because what he said is that the US does not see the greatest security risk for Europe in the threat posed by Russia or China, but rather in the alleged deformation of European democracy due to what he calls restrictions on freedom of speech. disregard for the will of the people, and uncontrolled immigration. So the problem at the moment is that Europe definitely has no other choice but to significantly increase the spending on armament and security. So this will be, I would say, the most important aspect the European Union have to deal with in 2025. So for this reason, the current political and legal chaos around the Green Deal will continue to intensify. And as Europe currently has neither the human nor the financial resources to deal with these issues of sustainable transformation, we see our task as educators, to enable companies to deal with this. Because maybe you have read this European Competitiveness Compass was launched, I think, 2 weeks ago, if I remember this right. And this compass makes it really, really clear that without the Green Deal, it will not be possible to drive the European economy forward. So Europe is caught in a so-called efficiency trap. This will be also one of the topics we will discuss during the seminar. And returning to the process efficiency improvement, this will only push the European economy further into, I call it a deep hole, because this is also an aspect I'm now doing research on, the so-called hero's journey. The question is how we can, or my question in this context is, how can we improve the strategic procurement situation in this process of sustainable transformation? So this will also another topic we will definitely come back to then within the seminar. So I would like to take procurement as an example here, because not only that's my major research area, but the procurement department plays a really important role in the context of global supply chains. And without procurement, there is no possibility that we bring back resilient and robust supply chains. So if we take procurement as an example, we have operational procurement. This is what companies are basically doing, but here we have only a cost reduction potential of less than 1%. When we talk about strategic procurement, we talk about 40% potential of cost cutting. And if we talk about indirect procurement, it's around about 60 to 70%. So unfortunately, hardly any company taps into these cost-saving opportunities, which will at the moment solve a lot of problems the companies have, because financial issues are reality almost everywhere in Europe. And the C-level completely ignores procurement. So I have also found an article, only 10% of executives regularly engage with their procurement department. So this is completely unimportant for the strategic or setting up an overall corporate strategy. So yet procurement is not only the key lever for cost reduction, which is very important at the moment, because you all know that sustainability is always related to a very, very intensive amount of money. So that's also very important, that you identify some areas in your company where you can really bring down the cost level. But procurement is also the key lever for the sustainable transformation. And this is also one of the major outputs of this training, to give you some evidence why this is the case and what you can do to do so. And what I also found very interesting in this European Competitiveness Compass, so Ms. van der Leyen, she envisions a cost-neutral agreement, which means on the sustainable transformation, but this is only possible if companies learn how to do this, not using very, very expensive AI tools and consulting activities, So here is the, let's say, the reason why we have came up with our training. This was the idea, because together with our participants, we aim to identify the key challenges of reporting obligations, starting with CSRD, because from my point of view, this is really the most important one, because it covers everything. And then we have others like the European deforestation, everything related to packaging and plastic, the CSDDD. We will see if this ever comes in, or if it postponed, or if they say in the end, we completely delete this law. But as long as we have the CSRD, we need to know what's going on in our supply chain. So that's very, very important. So during this training, this is a very interactive training. We talk about the major challenges of our participants, and then we try to find some joint solutions. And the really important thing is that companies are enabled to deal with these issues. And fortunately, there are plenty of examples of companies who have already managed this in a very successful way. And this is where we also bring in some examples, and based on, again, the major issues of our participants during the online sessions, for example, but also when we have the on-site meetings, we bring in some online guest lectures, depending on what you want to know, but we want to give you some lighthouse examples, where it already works. That you understand it's not a very expensive activity here to bring in sustainable transformation into global supply chains. Then I will hand over to Marina again, but before I do so, I would like to add a final comment from my side, because delivering the training sessions as a duo, like the two of us are, this is also quite innovative, because basically you can't see this in reality, because if you have professors, they often, let's say, have very firm opinions on topics, and they do not really allow for alternative perspectives. So Marina is an expert in sustainable leadership and organizational development. My expertise lies in sustainable supply chains and sustainable procurement. And during this session, so Marina already mentioned that last year we had the first training here, we challenge each other. And this is also something, from my point of view, or one of the major aspects why you will definitely leave this seminar with a lot of expertise and knowledge. So this is also a very outstanding part of this training, and not something you can find somewhere else. So thank you very much for listening to me. I will hand over to Marina, and and then we have with Božena the really good discussion, because she was one of our amazing participants from last time, and we also learned a lot from her. So this is also very interesting. So we also learned from your contribution, and find some new ways how we can do some research and so on. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing the insights. And I couldn't agree more. So it was also fantastic to not only interact with the participants, but also enjoy the challenging moments we have when our opinions do not 100% overlap. So I think that's also very enriching for the participants to see that there's not only one perfect solution and answer to one specific problem, and that we all need to still find a way to discuss different approaches together. Lisa has already mentioned that we do switch between on-site and online modules. The idea of doing this program was that we found that when there's a training, the training experience is usually great. Participants really enjoy it. Then they go back to their corporate lives and realities, and then they find, oh, actually, I do have a couple of more questions. And now the training is over. I cannot get back to the course instructors. And so what we thought is to offer different modules, and in between there is a little break, as you can see here. So all in all, we have usually a little bit of a bandwidth of around about 6 months together with the participants. And we start a little bit in advance. We also offer contact points after the official, let's say, concluding date of October 9 and 10. And so we do stay in contact with the participants throughout the program. And as I said, so you can see we do alternate between these different components. So first we start with the Leadership for Sustainable Development in May. Then we have here an online, let's say, kind of feedback session, and also more of a deep dive online with additional follow-up questions that emerged maybe from the first on-site session. Then we dive further into the second module, Understanding and Measuring the different European sustainability reporting standards. of the CSRD predominantly. So we do focus on both the CSRD as the main cornerstone of this program, but also on the CSDDD, so the EU Supply Chain Act, precisely as the core, let's say, focus areas, but also beyond that. And then we go back and forth between these like different contents. Then you can see we also then have again an online session. We do also have then 2 online sessions as a sequel, usually more during the summer break. And then we come back with reporting, sustainability, and implementation pathways, because as Lisa already mentioned, we are far more interested in the impact rather than in only the reporting and getting the reporting done. Yes, of course, we will train you on the data points, what is necessary to do the reporting, but we are far more interested in advancing your company together with you and not creating additional cost centers with sustainability. And I think that is the core takeaway that you can expect when you attend our training. Now, why should you attend in the first place? Of course, what is here to say is that you will gain state-of-the-art sustainability knowledge that is aligned with current social and ecological challenges. You understand the basic foundations, of course, of the different compliance regulations. We will dive into sustainability strategy that is usually matched with a double materiality analysis, one of the cornerstones and entry points to the CSRD reporting requirements. You will get insights into the recent international but also EU reporting and compliance requirements, because you might not only be operating in your own country but also have international facilities. And so we do have different touch points on directives, as you can see here on the slide. And I think, and personally also feel that is the most important one, we try to build your skill sets so that you don't need to use very, very expensive consultancy services, but then you become more skillful in doing it yourself and also advance your company in a better way, and also build a stronger foundation and meaningful and also impactful sustainable transformation within your organization. Now, who should attend in a nutshell? So if you are a sustainability professional, if you are tasked to implement any of the compliance regulations, but also if you in general want to advance your sustainability strategy, you are more than welcome to attend. So it's very much suited to corporate executives. And also, for example, environmental consultants could be target groups that can join our training, and obviously also compliance officers. And we had a share of these different professionals also attending our training last time. Now, as I said before, you are welcome to pop your questions in the chat window, so in the Q&A window. But I think I hand it over now once again to Lisa and also Božena, who is joining us for the interview before we take the questions from the chat. And maybe also Božena wants to introduce herself before we dive into the interview together with Lisa.
Oh, hello. You hear me well?
Yeah, perfect.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the lovely introduction. My name is Božena Odobašić. I'm the sustainability specialist in Končar. We are a transformers manufacturer based in Zagreb, Croatia, and we are part of this first wave of ESRS reporting companies. So I joined the team last year, and we saw that there was a need to kind of, because of our reporting requirement this year, to kind of bring up competencies in that department. So I was part of the program last year here that the lovely ladies Lisa and Marina held. And that's all for my short introduction.
So should I start with the first question, or?
Sure.
But I hope you got the questions we have prepared, but I think the important issue is that that the participants of the webinar a little bit better understand, was it really helpful for a company to join this seminar and learn something? So our first question was dealing with the key insights you took away from this training. And did you also see a kind of positive impact on your company, on the way how you're dealing with the different functional areas or whatever might be important here from your point of view?
I think it was very good because, first of all, the very core of the modules was very discussion based. So it was discussion between participants and then discussion between you two and then discussion between everybody. So the exchange of ideas was a very like productive way to kind of try to understand what these topics are, because sustainability isn't really a new topic, but the core of sustainability and how it's being implemented, especially in the European Union, is a very not understood very well. First of all, because the regulation is written in such a difficult way that you do not really understand what the purpose of those written words is. So the having professionals in different areas trying to explain maybe what's even the background of why this is asked, and kind of trying to exchange knowledge between participants, and Lisa and Marina was very helpful to try to see how to implement these things in the company. There is a huge takeaway that I got that's kind of stuck with me the entire time from the education, and that was try not to centralize sustainability within a group of people, but try to bring the entire company into sustainability. And so each person and each department has a part in sustainability. They might not be even aware of what they are contributing, but they are contributing, and they have these little bits and bobs of knowledge that kind of encapsulates the whole story. So it's a lot easier for us sustainability specialists to kind of bring the whole story together. That was a huge takeaway. And just the very kind of the expertise, Lisa, it was hugely helpful to hear your background on the supply chain, because I'm not from the purchasing department. This is a new topic for me. So it was very important to hear kind of what's everybody on the purchasing side is talking about. And it helped me to establish a good conversation with my purchasing department and have a good exchange of information with them. And then, of course, Marina, all of the knowledge that you gave to us on the background and how the systems worked and how to put the puzzle pieces together was very helpful. Of course, it's an ongoing project. Nothing can be solved in 1 or 2 quarters or even 4. But yeah, as you said multiple times in the introduction about expensive consultants and it being very important to bring these competencies directly into the company and stop trying to get people from the outside to understand you completely and be able to give you a model that's going to work for you, extra knowledge, and then you can have a better conversation within the company itself. So that's
very good final words, because this is exactly what we want to achieve, that companies really understand. Make it yourself, because then you are on the right side, and it's not only that you save a lot of cost, but you learn so much more, and you improve your relationships to suppliers, for example, which is, from my point of view, one of the major tasks of any kind of company. And if we discuss this from an empirical point of view, we have enough evidence that one of the reasons why we are in this economic hole, let's say, why we have this recession to go through, is because we exploited the supply chains the last 20 years, and this is now the answer, so and there we have to change something, and I think that's also very important, and this can't be done by a consultant or whatever, because they don't know your supply chain, and this is what we have to discuss. Very, very great. Thanks a lot, Božena.
Božena, were you also like finding any specific aspect particularly helpful in solving one of the CSRD reporting issues? So was there anything very concrete, like a concrete solution that you can still remember, where you say, okay, this is something that I directly took and implemented in the company or in our processes?
We took a very detailed approach to the double materiality. And that was only possible because during the modules, Marina, you went through the requirements of the ESRSs and the double materiality multiple times and went into the background of what is asked. And at that point, I have already read the documents that the EU had given us, but nobody actually explained any of this to me. So we had a few practical exercises during some of the modules where we were writing down things, exchanging knowledge, and kind of talking about how to communicate with people, because a huge part of the double materiality is teamwork. And we had a lot of discussion about what types of people you have and the way that they approach problems and problem solving, and how to get them to be part of the team. So that particular module where we were discussing that's quite clearly in my head, that I took the approaches that you suggested then and implemented them while we were doing the double materiality in the company.
Great, thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, and we have a final question because this is where we are still working on. So the idea was that after the last session, it's not over. So Marina is still sending you information because this chaos I mentioned in the very beginning is, I think this will get worse during this year. So we try to give you additional information in terms of this ongoing process, because that's also very important about sustainability. This is not a project where you can say someone, okay, now it's done, because it's an ongoing process, because every time we find something where we can improve the situation of specific parts of the supply chain and so on. So I would like to ask you if this ongoing engagement, is this helpful for you? And we also thought about, so we are working on this right now, a follow-up session, to also think about or discuss about new issues which might pop up during the past month and so on. Is this something helpful, or do you have any kind of ideas for us how can we improve this, stuff like this?
I think it's an excellent idea. So during the education and the various modules, you gave us different sources that we should follow. A huge one was EFRAG, and to kind of follow what they're giving us out. And you've already had a few follow-up emails about what's been new in the world of sustainability reporting. And it was very helpful because even though I am following EFRAG and all of these websites, it's a bit, I'm not very sure sometimes what they're talking about. And maybe sometimes I don't really have time to go into the specifics. And Marina is very helpful. And she's like, okay, they are talking about this right now. They gave us this date and this is what they're going to discuss. Here is an extract from the discussion. Here's the link. Check it out if this is something that you need to follow up on. And there was like certain moments like that where you sent us follow-ups. Something that I noticed, you learn the most after the course when you start doing and applying. So I think follow-up might be a nice idea, because now that we are in the midst of reporting, I think our report has to be out in like 2 months.
You will see, because the discussion is that it will be postponed by another year. So maybe
we will see. Yeah, to see what are the pitfalls that we discovered while doing, because we got prepared with a lot of knowledge and a lot of enthusiasm to go into the idea, and then you go and you're like, oh, okay, first mistake, second mistake, okay, what can we learn from this? So to see actually the practical applying and what the practical application of the knowledge showed us. Because in theory it was all excellent, and then in application it was like, oh no, something went wrong here. But the practical application might have actually discovered the pitfalls of the regulation itself. the maybe some nonsenses that they've implemented inside, and maybe when the omnibus comes out in a month or whenever, we should start commenting on what we think they should implement to make it have more sense for companies and investors.
That's a very good point here also, because I'm always complaining on my LinkedIn posts about this omnibus idea, because it's completely useless. It doesn't matter if you have 1,178 or 878 data points. Yeah, the average data points you have to report are anyhow only roundabout. So according to the EFRAG, it's only 200 points. Yeah, but I would say if you are a chemical company, or if you are in the textile industry or in the food industry, then you have definitely 300, 350, but not more. Yeah, so and therefore it doesn't matter, because these 1,178 points only give you an overview what could be important, yeah, to think about a sustainable supply chain based on, and that's also very important, scientific background, yeah, which is very, very helpful. But that's again my consulting complaint, yes, let's say, because they tell you have to report 800 or 900 points, yeah, but it's not true, yeah. So this is also something we always want to come back to in the training, yeah, to also let's say give you the power for arguments, yeah, so that you say no, we don't have to do this, yeah. So it's if we have a sound double materiality matrix where we know where our impact is, we can easily explain why we can skip one of the standards, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you just mentioned. Give us the knowledge to argue back, because of the way that different people interpret the regulation, because they claim that it is written in ways that you can interpret in different ways, and you have to know what is correct for your company, what is correct for you to put out, and what is material to you, and to be able to stand behind the data that you have taken out of that. And a huge aspect currently that I'm very grateful, Lisa, for your knowledge on specifically the supply chain aspect, was a huge aspect of the double materiality was stakeholder engagement, and directly speaking to suppliers, and actually having an idea of what an administrative burden this reporting is, and having a picture of who is this for, what is this data for, who is going to use this, and to what extent, and really finding out what is important for your company and how you can use this in your general general work. Because as we see now with the omnibus, we don't know which way it's going to go. Is it going to deregulate? Is it going to cut down? Sustainability itself is not going away, and you have to have the knowledge and the equipment to keep pushing your own company in that direction, even when reporting is not something that you have to do. But the relationships and the sustainable management of the company, they stay. So it's very important for you to be able to be equipped in that department and have a clear idea of what it is and where do you want to take it in your general work. So
I'm so happy to hear this.
That's as kind of the
I wish every
end.
company would think like you. Yeah. So it's definitely so. This is also something I'm working at the moment, and I hope we can bring this in also in the next training session, because companies really have to understand that there is no successful future if you are not going for sustainability. Yeah? Because all the drama we have to face at the moment is because we had exploited the supply chains. Yeah? And this is very, very important. So it doesn't matter, and I'm completely with you, therefore we called it from standard to action. It's not compliance. Yeah. Important is that you do something. Yeah. And if you have identified one specific task, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. You don't have to try to find 10, 15 activities. Take one where you can really have impact, and then you are out of any kind of possible punishments, which is anyhow, because they are due diligence acts. So you could not be punished only for not doing anything. Yeah. So that's the only way. So thank you very much. This was really, really, really good to hear that we had some, obviously we left something.
Yes, thank you. Thank you as well. And good luck with the other next
some
group of
input in the
students.
direction. Thank you very much. This is really great to hear.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I see we have a couple of more minutes left before we conclude our webinar here on the training and preview of the training. I don't see any questions in the Q&A box, but if you want, I think there's also possibility for Vera to unmute you if you want to pose your question live. If not, you are very much welcome to pop them into the chat or the Q&A box, to be more precise. But other than that, if I don't see anything incoming right now or any raised hands, then I think we're about to conclude. So, Lisa, any final conclusion words from your side? What participants can expect, or why they should sign up now and join us?
I would say to sign up is exactly to if we ask then the next participants what are the major output of this training, if you have then the same opinion like Božena, we are happy. So this is exactly what we want to achieve, that you can understand that there is a lot in for your company when you go for a sustainable transformation. And one of the major aspects is that you understand who is responsible for what, and that team approach is very important. And that you also, I was listening to a webinar, maybe a final remark from my side. I was listening to a webinar, and there a company, the sustainability manager was giving some insights how they prepared for the CSRD reporting. And then he said, it's not necessary that you include external stakeholders. Yeah, this is not important for the double materiality, but it's definitely important because you cannot ask a purchase and say, what do you think are the major problems of our suppliers? Yeah. So then you are not integrating the supplier, and then the supplier also do not really understand what is his contribution or her contribution in this respect. Yeah. So, and this is exactly the standard link. Yeah. So you only do what's written. So it's in the EFRAG tells you, okay, you can start with the internal stakeholders, but you should extend this later on, because otherwise the double materiality does not make sense at all. Yeah. But if companies are communicating something like this, then we are going completely in the wrong direction. So that's the reason. And then I am back to the sentences I started with. Yeah, what the mission of my Ispira think tank is, that we really have to bridge the gap between theory and practice. Yeah, because we know a lot more in theory, and we have to find a way to communicate it. And therefore, it's so good that Marina and myself, we are both from the theoretical side. So I have to say, Marina is a lot better researcher than I am. Yeah, but we are both also in this consulting and coaching area. Yeah, so we can combine both aspects, and we also understand when companies are talking to us, yeah, what their problems are. And I think this is also a very innovative part of this training, that you have this concrete connection, yeah, of practical and theoretical expertise.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more to what you just said, Lisa. And yeah, just to our participants, thanks for being with us. Thanks to also Božena for sticking with us here during the webinar, and also looking forward to our further communications and updates also with the whole group of the cohort 1, and looking forward to our next cohort that will start very, very soon in May. And I believe that Vera and her team will send some follow-up to our webinar participants with additional links, more information. But if you feel you still haven't gotten the chance to ask all of the questions that you wanted to ask, and want to get more on an informal chat with Lisa or myself, you can also contact us through LinkedIn if you wish. And get some more insights there. But again, we would love to see you. We will be very much looking forward to welcoming you on site, but also online during our course. And I hope that together we can make a greater impact for yourselves and also for your company, and to show you the added value of the compliance regulatory frameworks and the compliance jungle that we are currently facing. So looking forward to discussing this with you and to show you a different side of sustainability compliance. Thank you for attending.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.